Welcome to Fright Bites, a mini-series from the Haunted UK podcast. Over the years, you've trusted us with your true paranormal experiences, stories that chilled us, unsettled us, and stayed with us long after the episodes ended. In Fright Bites, we bring you the very best short-form listener submissions we've ever received, hand-picked, stripped down, and told in their most terrifying form. These are short stories. Real accounts. No filler, no distractions, just a single moment where something unexplained stepped out of the shadows and into someone's life. So dim the lights, get comfortable, and brace yourself. This is Fright Bites, Episode 5, The Last Customer. My name's Helen, and around 25 years ago I worked behind the bar at a social club in Somerset. I loved that job. It was friendly, familiar, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone else. One Saturday night we'd had a band playing in the function room. The atmosphere was fantastic. Lots of laughing, dancing and drinking. Eventually the night wound down and the club closed. Once everyone had gone, it was just me and Mike finishing up cleaning, locking doors, getting ready to go home. Mike was tidying the lounge area and I was alone behind the bar in the function room. Everything was quiet, normal. Then I dropped a glass. It shattered loudly on the floor and Mike called out from the lounge to ask if I was okay. I told him I was fine, grabbed the dustpan and brush and bent down to sweep up the broken glass. As I stood back up, I saw her. An elderly lady was walking slowly across the dance floor, heading toward the open double doors that led to the toilets. I froze. I hadn't heard anyone come into the function room. The doors from the lounge hadn't opened, and the place was supposed to be empty. I called out, trying to sound casual. "Excuse me, love. We're closed now." She didn't turn around. She didn't reply. She just kept walking. I told myself she must have gone to the toilet. I stepped out from behind the bar and began straightening tables and chairs, partly to pass the time and partly because I didn't want to stand still. But she never came back out. And that's when the fear hit me, sudden and sharp, for no clear reason. My stomach dropped. The room felt wrong, too quiet. I called out to Mike, and a moment later he came into the function room. I told him what I'd seen and asked if he'd wait outside the toilets while I checked on her. To explain the layout, beyond the double doors is a very short corridor. At the end is a fire escape which was locked. On the left are the men's toilets and on the right the women's. There's no other way out. I opened the women's toilet door and called out to the lady, asking if she was all right and reminding her that the club was closed. There was no answer. I turned to Mike. He looked uneasy and asked if I wanted him to come in with me. I said yes. We stepped inside together. The toilets were empty. No cubicles occupied, no sounds, no sign anyone had been there. We stood there in silence, and then we heard it. A harsh, scraping noise. It sounded like furniture being dragged across the floor. We ran out of the toilets and back into the function room, and right in the middle of the dance floor sat a single chair. Just one. Perfectly placed in the middle. Both of us were terrified. There was no one there. No footsteps, no voices. Nothing else out of place. Just that chair, where it hadn't been before. We didn't question it. We finished up as fast as we could, locked the building and left. I wasn't back at work until the following Friday, but asked the manager if I could speak to him. I told him exactly what had happened, expecting him to laugh it off, but instead he went quiet. After a moment, he told me that a few years earlier, he'd seen an elderly lady in the function room, walking towards the toilets. A noise from the lounge had made him turn around, and when he looked back, she was gone. He went into the lounge to investigate the sound and found a single chair sitting in the middle of the room. Everything else had been straight and tidy moments before. As far as I know, none of us ever saw her again. We still don't know who she was, or why the chairs moved, only that whatever it was seemed to repeat the same actions, years apart. Somerset has a lot of haunted places, and this is one of them. That brings us to the end of this Fright Bite, a real experience shared by one of our listeners, and one that proves that the line between the ordinary and the unexplained is sometimes terrifyingly thin. If you've had an encounter of your own, or if something from your past still refuses to be explained, we'd love to hear it. Send your stories into contact us at hauntedukpodcast.com. Until next time, keep your lights low and your doors locked, because if you think you're alone right now, you might want to think again.